hoping that you can hear me. It's always a bit strange when you start a webinar and you hope that everything's working and that everyone can hear you. And yes, I can. Thank you, Sharon. That was fantastic. Great, Natalie. Thank you. John, yes. Oh, fab. Okay, so it's working. That's great. That's always a relief. All right, so let's get started. So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can stand out. I'm going to talk through why I think this is one of the key issues that as coaches, as healers, as holistic folks, we need to kind of grapple with. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I came to this conclusion, a little bit about why I think it's so important, and then we're going to get into the meat of it, what you can actually do, and how you can make sure that you aren't getting lost in a sea of coaches who are all saying similar things, because that's what we kind of learn to do. So I'm going to share my screen, and I really hope that this works, because I'm always a little bit nervous. Yes, share entire screen or application window. Okay, application window. Okay, I'm hoping that's working. I'm just going to, I'm just checking on my, I'm so mistrustful of all this stuff that I'm, oh dear, okay, that doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so can I just ask, can you see a picture of a tulip on the screen? I can see it, but it's very small. Yes, we can. Yes, okay. Let me see if I can get it a bit bigger than in that case. Share screen. Let me see if I can share my entire screen. Which should then... It's still really small, isn't it? Now it is, oh dear. Okay, let me see if I can do some. Right, I think I have to click up. There we go, there we go. Okay. That better, that's better, great. Okay, fantastic, right. Let's get going on this then. So, today we're talking about depending on where in the world you are, don't get lost in a sea of samey coaches, how to stand out while still being yourself. So let's just go over what we're going to learn, what we're going to cover. I'm going to talk about why the coaching industry has become such a difficult place to get noticed in, how the coaching industry is changing, how you can use your own unique experiences, your perspectives, your background, your skills, your beliefs, your values to create a business that not only is unique and feels good, but one that thrives, and how actually using all of those things that you already have in you is the absolute key to building something unique and something sustainable and something that is going to make a real difference to people's lives. And I'm going to talk you through some of the key steps that you can take right away to take you towards creating that business that not only gets noticed, but feels good too. And it does good. You know, we're in this business to change the world. Otherwise, you know, we'd go off and be accountants. Well, I'm sure there are life-changing accountants, but you know what I mean. Okay. So, in case you don't know me, who the hell am I? So, I'm a certified coach, I'm a speaker, and I'm a coach mentor. I have been in the coaching world. Let me just see what my next. Okay. I've been in the coaching world for 17 years now. I'm allergic to a lot of the marketing BS that we see in the coaching industry. I've tried it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I threw up the Kool-Aid. I then decided that there had to be another way of doing it. And so I did lots and lots of research and worked with lots and lots of people to find out how we can build a coaching business that feels as good as life coaching feels, you know, as good as life coach training feels, as life-changing as that is. And I specialize in helping folks to find bespoke strategies. I don't believe that there's a one size fits all blueprint. I believe that every coaching and healing business is as unique as the person running it. And so I believe in helping you to find smart, bespoke strategies and to be able to do the self-development work that's needed to thrive in the online world so that you can get more clients and you can build sustainable, honest businesses, or without resorting to the dark arts or sleazy marketing tactics. And I'm the founder of JoCasey.com. I'm the presenter and creator of the Work Happy Coaching podcast. I'm a speaker, and I've written for various online publications, including Coaching Blueprint, Mind Body Green, Tiny Buddha, etc. Oh, I don't know why it's gone small. Why has it gone small again? That's strange. Let me see if I can get it back to big. Hold on a second. Screen share. Let's try again. Okay. Let us try again. Oh, well, that's very, oh, what the heck? What is it doing now? Right. Technical issues. Just hold on a second. Screen share. Amazing. Stop sharing. Right, stop it. Okay, right. Let's try again. Screen share. I think I need to click that button. Then screen share. And my entire screen. No. Let's try again. There we go. So let me tell you a little bit about my coaching journey, because it ain't pretty, although how cute is our dog? But it's a kind of a bit of an ugly dog. So I started off in the coaching business 17 years ago, like I said. And back then, I think I was doing one of the very first coaching courses that you could do in the UK. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with coaching, just the possibilities of it, the how respectful it was, how much change I was seeing in people, even just your kind of buddies on the course, the changes they were going through and the changes I was experiencing myself. And I absolutely just thought, this is life-changing. And so I had read a lot of Tony Robbins, and I was absolutely, like I say, drank the Kool-Aid. And I quit my job after doing a weekend coaching course, because the coaching course that I was on told me that they were going to tell me all these marketing things about how I could build a business. And I remember them having this session on how much you can earn as a coach. And I think at the time they were suggesting you charged around about £100 a session. And I thought, oh my goodness, £100. If I worked 35 hours a week, that'd be £3,500 a week. Okay, I could probably take a bit, some breaks in between. Maybe I would, and I had myself up to earning 50, 60K, working part-time, and it was going to be an absolute breeze. And I really thought that would be possible. I could see no reason. I was willing to work hard. Okay, I didn't know how to run a business. I'd never had any business experience before. I had worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers and British Telecom. I had been a training consultant for a long time. But I knew that I was smart and I could work hard. And so I would do it. I would just study everything and I would do this thing. So I quit my job because I hated the job that I was in. And I was a single mum at the time. I do not recommend this to anyone. I was a single mum. My son was a baby. And I did everything that my coaching school told me to do. I did the press releases. I went to BNI groups. I, spoke to everyone that I could. I got a handful of clients, very low-cost clients, but not nearly enough to sustain me. And after 9 months of absolutely working my ass off for it, I was in debt and I couldn't make that month's mortgage payment. And it was awful. I felt like a massive failure, and I felt kind of betrayed as well. I taught myself how to build websites. In those days, you had to do it in Dreamweaver. You didn't have things like Squarespace and stuff like that. So I was really, really disappointed, and I had to go to my dad and ask my dad to lend me the money. My dad had to take a loan out to pay my mortgage payment that month, and I had to go get a job, and it felt horrible. And I felt embarrassed, and I felt like I'd been really stupid, and how had I believed all of this nonsense, this airy-fairy stuff that they were telling me about just thinking positive and just working hard. And I felt horrible. But I couldn't let go of the idea of coaching because I knew it was such good stuff. And so I thought, well, I'll convince my manager in my new job to let me coach people. And it took a while, but I did convince him. And after a few years, I ended up not only coaching in-house, but I'd gone on and done my master's degree in coaching. And I had gone on and trained to be an NLP practitioner and then a master practitioner. I'd done some things around cognitive behavioral therapy. I was really super nerdy about it all. And I was doing a lot of work around resilience and helping people, to be more resilient and just be more effective as humans. And so it was a passion that I thought, well, I can do this as part of my day job. And I'm so lucky that someone's willing to pay me for this, because you can't make a business out of it. And that's what I really thought for a long, long time. And then about 6 years ago, I learned that my job was under threat of redundancy because I work for a local authority. And during the last couple of years leading up to that, I've been doing a lot of work helping other people exit the organisation because we were making massive staffing cuts. But one of the things I'd been asked to do was put together a coach training program for a lot of the staff. And then I'd been asked by another organisation who knew of me to do that. And I had this little kind of side freelance business starting to develop. And I thought, well, I wonder if I could do that. And then the odd person started asking me for private coaching. And I found that I had a lot to say about it. I had a kind of a depth of knowledge. And so I started doing it on the side, and I started then studying just, well, what if I did want to do this as a business? What would I need to know? And I did some courses on copywriting and on WordPress and on email marketing and how to guest post and how to build email lists. And I kind of pointed my nerdy laser beam, which I had been applying to coaching, and I pointed it all at, how do you build an online business? So that when my job disappeared, when I was made redundant, I had the knowledge to kind of build it into something full time. And I was terrified. But I now knew some stuff. I knew how to run a business. And so I started my my coaching business based around helping people with their resiliency. And it did all right. I was able to earn kind of a living from it. And then the year before last, beginning of 2015, it really kind of took off. I had a full practice. And I felt like I had this big, like I was wearing a mask, like I had totally drunk the Kool-Aid, and I was tap dancing and hustling for worthiness and singing for my supper. And I just felt kind of icky about the whole thing. I got kind of burnt out on doing resilience work. And so I'd been working with a coach called Tara Gentili, who is a fantastic business strategist. And she basically said, you should be working with coaches. And so I switched to working with coaches. I did lots and lots of research into what coaches wanted. And I started teaching people these techniques that I'd learned about, how to build a brand and stuff like that. And then I was doing all right. I really was. I was making a living, but it didn't feel great. And so I started dropping some of the things that didn't feel so good. And I started incorporating some more of me, because I really felt for a long time that I wasn't able to show up as me. And, there's like this image that we have online, certainly that I had, of what you had to be in order to be a successful coach. And it was, you had to be skinny, you had to be relatively young, you had to be quite attractive, you had to have a really shiny website and great headshots of you looking quite glamorous. And if you could do it in a really nice looking cafe or on a beach, that would be even better. And I was using kind of buzzwords, and I kind of got exhausted with it all. And so it was like the effort of keeping up that shield, that mask, that thing that wasn't quite me, just became too much. It became too exhausting. And me started to show through. And me is a little bit disorganized and is a bit nerdy and swears and sometimes gets a bit ranty and, gets ridiculously excited about politics and is a feminist and is all of these things. And what I found is these things were kind of leaking out and people were responding really well to them. And so that gave me some clues as to where the next kind of stage of my business would be. And at the beginning of this year, I totally took the plunge. I've been working with a coach called Kelly Deals, who is amazing. And she helped me to rebrand my business around being a coach who not just helps somebody get more clients, but helps them build sustainable, meaningful businesses, because I just don't believe there's any point otherwise. So here's the problem. See if you can relate. There are too many coaches following the same advice. This is what I was doing. I followed all the same advice that everyone else was following. And so my website, my coaching business looked remarkably similar to everybody else's. And the result is that there are a lot of bland, artificial coaching businesses out there. And people are pushing marketing which are at odds with the values that most of us come into coaching for. A lot of it uses fake authority, like pretending to be an expert. There are whole courses and kind of strategies that you can use to establish yourself as an authority in an industry. Now, that's fine if you do have some knowledge, but I was getting more and more people approach me to say, people who had no coaching experience, who'd never been to coach school. And that's not to say I think everyone should go to coach school or has to. I really believe that there are some people who are just naturally really good coaches and that you can self-teach yourself an awful lot. And, it's very expensive to do coach training. So for some people, that's not an option. But I do believe that you need to take the art and craft of coaching seriously. And I was getting people approaching me saying, yeah, I thought I would like to run a coaching business because it's what everyone seems to be doing. And if you could teach me how to make 6 figures in the next 6 months, that would be brilliant. I was like, I can't teach you how to do that because, first of all, I don't think it's possible. I honestly don't think it's possible. I don't know anybody who's done it that fast. And secondly, it wouldn't really be ethical of me to do that because you're using coaching as a means to an end rather than the art form in itself. And I honestly believe that coaching is a very ethical and pure tool when used well that can have real impact both on individuals and on us as a society. If we were all that bit more I guess, in touch with what's going on, if we were acting more from a grounded place, we weren't so reactive to the world, we weren't coming from fear, we were owning our own stuff, if you like, then the interactions we would have with our fellow humans would be far, far better. So I think coaching is a wonderful tool for really creating change, both on an individual level and on a wider level. And so I do think it's something that we need to take seriously. And a lot of the marketing that I was seeing wasn't about that. It was about making a quick buck or trying to convince people of things that weren't really true. And in some cases, actually lying to people or certainly taking it very close to the line, promising people results that you couldn't really guarantee, all these kind of shiny things. And it became like this thing that we were all following. And this generated fake authority, these tales of internet riches, easy answers and impossible promises, these blueprints and the formulas that promise a one size fit all, but they're anything but. And I do have to call out some of the coach training organizations, because they, a bit like mine back in the day, I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it out of a need to sell places on their coaching program, but they're telling people that it will be really easy to set up a business and make a living at the end of it, and that's not true. It's not easy. It's hugely rewarding, but it's not easy. It's certainly not as simple as you put up your website, you get some business cards done, and boom, there you are. I honestly think coaching, particularly kind of life coaching, healing, holistic practitioner, holistic work, it's a tricky sell. We have to, there are ways of doing it, but it's not straightforward. It's not as easy as selling, say washing powder or here's my lovely t-shirt. It's different. It's less tangible. I think it's far more valuable, but it's not easy. So I see this as a real problem, and I know I'm not the only one, because the conversations that I'm having with people more and more are calling this stuff out. And many emerging coaches feel increasingly frustrated and just downright disheartened, because the marketing advice that they get makes them feel like they're having to put on a mask, like I did, and having to pretend to be something they're not. Somebody who has it all together, somebody who's super successful, somebody who has all the answers. And it's inauthentic. And as humans, this lack of inauthenticity, it's something that we can spot a mile away. And so it ends up that as coaches, we're trying to do this art, this craft, this methodology that is really filled with integrity and comes real from the heart. But then we're being told to sell it using these tools that feel really disconnected from that and really odds with the coaching work that we do. And then the other thing is, the elephant in the room is, it doesn't even get results. Because everyone's saying the same thing, everyone's using the same language. And so it means that it can feel like you're yelling into a void sometimes when you're doing this stuff online, or everyone is shouting on Facebook, going, buy my thing, and no one's hearing anything. And it gets really depressing. But there's some good news, I promise you. I'm just taking a drink. If you are stood against a beige wall, the good news is it's really easy to stand out by showing up any other colour than beige. You don't start looking for the gimmick or some totally unique niche, like, oh my goodness, I have to be a coach for tap dancing unicorns who don't like broccoli because every other niche is taken and I need to have one that's totally unique. No. It's not like that. You don't have to pick a niche. You don't have to pick a message. It comes out of you. It is part of you. It's already there. It's a question of uncovering it. It's a question of you dropping the facade, by you being 100% you, by you leading with your vision and your why and your passion. And then it's impossible to blend in. It radiates out and people can spot it. It's like sending a flare up in the dark sky. The right people will see it and be attracted by it. So this is the words of, I'm totally stealing this and totally giving props to Kelly Deals, who's been my coach for the past 6 months. And she says, your vision is your campfire. Your vision is the actual contribution you want to make to our culture. Your vision is the big, audacious thing that you want to create that seems completely unreasonable and something even far away from the work that you do sometimes. It's that grand cultural story connecting the socio-political dots, and it's actually the thing that invites people in. Your vision is an invitation to community. That huge vision with all its inherent gravitas and audaciousness is what gets people excited. So let me give you the example of my own my own kind of brand journey, which sounds a horrendous way to describe it. When I started working with Kelly, like I say, I was doing pretty well as a coach for coaches. My tagline was, "I will help you get more clients than you can shake a stick at." But like I say, it felt kind of a little bit shallow, like it just scratched the surface of the work that I really did with people, because the work that I did is can be quite deep. I do a lot of strategic stuff, a lot of strategy, and helping them to define what are those kind of unique things that are going to help them. But also, I do a lot of, I guess, life coaching, because business growth is personal growth. You can't have one without the other. And so when I came to working with Kelly, I was at a stage thinking I'd kind of lost enthusiasm a bit for my business, and I was really unsure of to where to go. And so what Kelly helped me to do is identify what my why is. And my why is far deeper than that initial, I will help coaches get more clients. It was, well, why do I want to help coaches get more clients? And what I realized was that I want to help coaches get more clients, particularly women coaches, because my mum worked full time, and she also had 2 kids, and this is back in the 70s and 80s. There was very little childcare around, and she had quite a demanding job as a social worker, and she was stressed and strung out all of the time. And so one of the things that brought me to personal development was that I kind of wanted to save my mom in a way, because I could see all the time how stressed she was and how down on herself she was. She felt a huge amount of guilt, guilty about being away, guilty about being there. She just felt a huge amount of guilt. And now that I was a mother myself, I have 2 kids, and I could relate to that. I had also worked full time in offices. I love my job in many ways, but I miss being away, the fact that I was away from my kids, and also I didn't have autonomy over my work. Also, once you have kids, and I worked in the public sector, so they're pretty good at giving you things like good maternity leave and flexible working. But even so, I always felt like I was on catch up with myself. And so, for me, helping people to build businesses that are fulfilling, that feel great, that are doing some good in the world, but that also give people back control and autonomy over their life, that give people the opportunity to set their own agenda and their own hours, and to take back some of that economic control. That to me is really important. And also, I was so sick of the whole kind of just do it culture. Because as humans, we all know what it's like to kind of go, okay, yeah, one part of me knows I should do that, but the other part of me is struggling. And I noticed for the past kind of year or so, really acutely, this tension that was coming up in me, in my clients, about the things that we knew we needed to do to build our businesses. We were smart, we were capable, we were switched on women, and yet there would always be that, I feel like I'm being too visible, I don't want to be obnoxious, that feels a bit controversial. That it wasn't necessarily that we were not doing those things, but we were doing those things with a huge amount of baggage and tension that came along. And I realized that this was because we go against a lot of our conditioning that we have, particularly as women, about what it means to be a good woman. A good woman doesn't take up too much space. She's not too opinionated. When we literally have a culture that is around women being thin in a way that isn't applied to men, in terms of our bodies. But also, there is, about 2/3 of public men to 1/3 of women, depending on which country you live in. Some, in some places that is, that is very movable. We'd just come out of a US election which had seen misogyny like I had convinced myself didn't exist anymore, be applied to Hillary Clinton. Now, regardless of what you thought of her as a candidate, the way that she was being treated and being spoken about, and kind of the demonization, I think the election was as much to do with demonizing this woman as it was to liking this man who won. And so all of that kind of coalesced, and I hit on this thing of it's our feminine conditioning. When we're building a business, we need to tackle head on our feminine conditioning, those messages that tell us, stay small, don't say anything controversial, be agreeable, don't call people out, all of those things that, I want to be liked. I want to be a good woman. I want to be considered to be nice and to be kind, because they're the things as a woman I get lots of strokes for. But there are sometimes that I need to call things out. There are sometimes I disagree with things, and I struggle with that. And as a business owner, I struggle with that, and I struggle with being visible, and my clients were as well. And so those two things came together, and it's like I help people to build businesses with meaning, businesses that are sustainable, so that people can then have that economic control and that sense of self-actualization and control. And I help people tackle their feminine conditioning. And when I hit on that and I rebranded, the response that I got in terms of, yes, in terms of clients, but also in terms of, being invited to be on people's podcasts, to be mentioned on other people's podcasts. I got an email from Tanya Geisler saying, I've just been talking about you on a podcast. It came up and I was referencing your work. And I was like, what? My work? I have work? Because now I am somebody who's becoming known for this thing. And in terms of standing out, this has helped enormously. And so that's what I mean about the power of leading with your vision. It kind of draws on the work of Simon Sinek. He has a TED talk called, and a book called Start With Why. And he basically says that when you lead with your beliefs, even people who don't actually get your work right now will still come sit by the fire. So, for example, I primarily work with women, but I still have a lot of guys in my community, switched on, beautiful, feminist, progressive guys, whether they be queer, they'll be straight, whether they be trans, whether they be, non-binary folks, because what I'm talking about still resonates with them around, the messages that we're all given around gender, around what's good and what's bad, and also about creating meaningful businesses. And so what we're talking about here, and I do think this is one of the things that gets lost online, is actually about leadership, becoming a leader. You're the leader of your business, and you get to lead and create a community, gathering people around you who are interested in what you have to say and who you can then serve. And so it's rather than becoming, rather than it being that kind of buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing that you maybe see on Facebook, and gets exhausting for the people doing it and for the people observing it. But it's really ineffective. In the new online world, building a community around your vision is everything. Because when we make an impact in the world, we can make money in our businesses because we have communities who are interested in our vision and our work. And the coaching industry is changing. There has been a real shift, especially over the last 6 months, but I think it's been coming for longer than that. Because people are getting saturated by these messages, these shallow messages. There are enough people now who have taken the $25,000, business coaching courses and have come out and like, well, I still don't have clients, or I still don't have the business that I wanted. And so people are kind of demanding something else, something deeper, because why go into this profession that is coaching and then not be able to build a business around it that feels good? Why build a business that feels horrible, that feels icky, that feels superficial, and like you're being inauthentic? It's really important that you are able to do something that matters, do work that matters. And so starting with your why is the first step of that. There's something else that it's really important to kind of tap into and to realize, because something that comes up around this point in the conversation when I'm talking to clients, or what, you know, if I'm doing a class like this, is, yeah, but who am I? Everything else has been said. Or there's X, Y, and Z people who are saying it, and they've got way more experience than me, and they've literally written the book on it, or they're a professor in it. So who am I to be talking about writing or boundaries or being a more effective parent or running a business? Who am I? And I love this concept by Nilofer Merchant. And she calls it onlyness. She also has a TED Talk, and she has quite a long blog post about this. You can Google her. And she has a book coming out about it as well, I discovered today as I was going to get the quote to put into this. And she says, onlyness is that spot in the world that only you stand in. It's a function of your distinct history and experiences, your visions, your hopes. And if you build upon your signature ingredients of purpose and connect with those who are equally passionate, you have a lever by which to move the world. Now just think about that for a minute. There is only you standing in this place of space and time as you. There is only you who has had those unique combination of experiences, of beliefs, of visions, of hopes, of ideas. Only you, no one else. There are, I don't know, a gazillion coaches for coaches out there, but there's nobody doing it quite like me. And I'm not doing it quite like Mark Winnie or, you know, any of the other coaches for coaches out there. Because if you can lead with the place of onlyness, with your vision, with your why, then you become uncopyable. And I really want you to hear that, because it doesn't matter if there are other people talking about the same thing that you want to talk about. It doesn't matter, because it's like alchemy. I always liken it to alchemy. When you get the right coach and the right client and they come together, something bigger happens, something magical happens. And it's like a frequency. There are some people who are just going to be on your frequency. They can have heard the same kind of message from 10 other people, but there will be a way that you can say it, that you can phrase it, that you can explain it, that will just resonate with them because you are on the right frequency. So it doesn't matter that there are other people talking about the same issues that you want to talk about. It doesn't matter. So long as you go out and you talk about it in your only way, the way that only you can, that's when people will start to resonate and start to sit up and take notice. And I've seen this happen time and time again. Standing out as a coaching, I do beg your pardon for my typos, as a coach or a healer, it means leading with your vision and letting your onlyness shine through. It's not about putting on a shiny smile or a pair of high heels or talking about helping people to speak their truth or live their best life. And I say that with no judgment, because I've done it all. It's not about sharing motivational quotes with pictures of women jumping about in cornfields. And again, I've done that too. It's about uncovering what really matters to you and revealing it to your potential customers. And it's about talking about the stuff that matters. Does that make sense? Just give me some kind of comments in the chat if you're with me so far while I take a drink. So much sense. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. So you might be thinking, so how do you do it? So here are some questions. And I just want us to spend, good, totally resonates, says Natalie. Teresa says, this really resonates for me. Sarah, yes, it makes sense. Love the idea that we can all be our authentic selves. Wonderful, wonderful. Sharon, love Kelly's quote. Beautiful, fabulous. Okay, so Here are some questions. If you've got a pen and paper, just jot a few things down. If not, you can come back and just spend a bit of time journaling around this. But just as I read them out, oh, excuse me, I'm drinking fizzy pop and it made me burp. Oh, excuse me. See, that's not very shiny. You wouldn't have Danielle Laporte burping on a webinar, would you? Okay, so just listen and notice in yourself what comes up for you as I read these questions out. Imagine it's like you're dropping a pebble into a well. Listen out for any kind of feedback that comes up from you. So the first one is, what would you fight for, argue for? What would you die for? If you were intergalactic leader for the day, that's a job title I've just made up, but I think we should all take turns. We should all get to do it for a day. Intergalactic leader for a day. So you're like ruler of the world, and you can do anything. You can make enact any law. What would you do? What would you do with that power? What would you change? If you could change one thing about our world, what would it be? And this next question comes from the lovely Maggie Sterner, who is another coach. And I just love this question. What would you not let happen for your clients on your watch? So what is it that you almost want to grab them by the shoulders, look them dead in the eye and say, no, I will not have that for you. That will not happen, not on my watch. And what would you tell your potential clients if you only had 1 minute to do it in? If you could only meet them just for a minute and that was it, you were going to get whisked away somewhere, what would you tell them? What would be the one thing you want them to hear? The answers to those questions are the key to your why. Obviously, it's a more in-depth process than that, but those answers that come up, especially the ones that feel a bit like, whoa, a bit big and a bit scary maybe, they're the key. They're the key to your why. And you know what? I bet that thing that you want to say, I bet it's not, just go out and live your best life. It's always deeper than that. There's an urgency to it. There's a passion behind it. That's what helps you to stand out. Let's talk about what gets in the way a little bit. Because once you have your vision, even once you've hit on it, so maybe you're one of those people who already know, yeah, I know what I should be talking about. I know what my passion is. I know what I want to be changing. What gets in the way? So I've already mentioned our feminine conditioning, and feminine conditioning shows up in a number of ways. Sometimes it's stuff that we're consciously aware we're saying to ourselves, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't do that. But other times it's more subtle than that. It might show up as just a resistance. I don't know why. I know I need to put the thing out. I know I need to send the email. I don't know why I'm resisting it. Or I'm procrastinating a lot and I don't know why that is happening. I'm so frustrated with myself. Or I am scared to death from doing this thing. So our feminine conditioning comes up in a number of different ways, and we really need tools to be able to kind of have a container to address this, because if we ignore it, it doesn't go away. We can only push through so much. One of the kind of key insights that I had that kind of led me to the realization that we all need to be having these things built in when we're doing any kind of business development is when so the first year that my coaching business brought in enough money for me to be able to invest back into it. So, I kind of paid off those initial things like buying the computer and stuff like that. I was still in my day job, so I was still kind of part-time in my coaching business, but I was generating some income and it felt great. And I decided I was going to invest it in quite an expensive, to me, group coaching program, which was all business strategy. It wasn't one of the 25k ones, but it was about 7,000 or 8,000, which was a huge amount of money. It was basically all that I'd made from coaching that year. And I was so determined, because I'd spent that money, I was so determined I was going to milk it for everything that I could. And so I worked so hard. I showed up to every one of the calls, even though some of them were on Pacific time, which means that for me in the UK, they started at midnight. I showed up for them. I diligently did the homework. And then I hit a point. It was a 7-month course, and this was about 4 months in. And I hit a point where I was just like stuck, because I got this huge wave of fear that came over me, because it was around shifting and doing something quite different that I'd never done before in my business. And on one of the group calls, I raised it and I said, I'm terrified of doing this. And the coach, who called themselves a coach, but actually were more of a kind of a business coach. They didn't have a coaching coach background. Some more kind of business and strategic stuff, said, well, you just have to work through that. You just have to do it. And I felt embarrassed for saying it, and I kind of came away with that kind of feeling, that I felt a little bit shamed. And I thought, if I was a proper business person, I know how to deal with this. Therefore, I'm obviously not a proper business person. And I couldn't get past this fear, this terror. Something was triggering me around doing this thing in my business. And so I was too embarrassed to show up for the next call, because I still hadn't taken the action that I said I was going to. And then by the time the next call came along, I was even more embarrassed. And then it became too much. It was like, I had too much shame. I was too embarrassed. And I stalled out on this course. And it actually took me about 12 months or so to complete all of the units in this course. And obviously I'd missed that one-on-one support that I could have had, because this block had come up and I had no tools or support to be able to deal with it. And that is something that is so important. I think it's vital that we have that, because whenever we're trying something new, whenever we are growing of some kind, we get resistance. We know that. We're coaches, we know that. And yet a lot of business coaching just focuses on we'll just do it. And so some of that is linked to our feminine conditioning. Some of that is linked to, just all kinds of things about being a human. So what else gets in the way? Not knowing how to bring out our why. So not having the tools. I mean, I've given you some kind of high level questions to get you started, but so I know there's some of my current clients on the call, and they will laugh at this because I use this analogy loads. So one of the things that as a coach, one of the benefits I think we bring is, it's a bit like, when you go to the hairdressers or the hair salon, if you're in the States, and they hold the mirror up at the back, at the end of the session, so that you can see the back of your head. And they do it at that weird angle. It's like the only time you would get to see the back of your head. And as coaches, that's kind of what we do for our clients. We hold the mirror up so they can see the things from a different perspective. And sometimes it's really, really difficult to see your own why because you are so close to it. You can't see the back of your own head. So you need somebody else to give you those different perspectives to help to bring it out of you. And so sometimes working with somebody else, whether that be a buddy, whether that be a coach, is the only way to go. And I will honestly say it was my experience of working with Kelly. It's been my experience of working with other great coaches over the years who've been able to help me to really dig into what is it that I stand for? What is that I'm about? Because I was too close to it. Another thing that really gets in our way is a lack of community. And it means that we get stuck in our own heads, which leads to perfectionism, procrastination. And I have this phrase of entrepreneur isolation. And I realized that this was a thing when I was just talking to some people that I was in another group program with. And one of the women said, do you know what? I can't tell anyone else this, but I'm so lonely. And we all kind of went, oh. And then we all in turn said, so am I. Because we were trying to be so kind of together and so professional and so doing everything. And actually, there were days when, I mean, I still get them. Everyone gets them because you realize it's normal, but there are days when you think, I'm not cut out for this. I'm not one of those people. Or what's wrong with me? Why can't I have the 6-figure business like everybody else can? Or why can't I be producing bazillions of content? Or why haven't I done that? Or what's wrong with me? Or I just want to burn it all down, which is a phrase that I nicked off my friend Sherry, who says, you know, we all have those burn it down days. And having other people to give you support, to give you feedback, to give you encouragement, to give you, you know, instructions, step away from the ledge, you know, step away from the homepage. You are not allowed to do any more tinkering with it. Today, you need to go out and do, you know, have a walk, get some fresh air. Having community, having fellow travelers is just absolutely invaluable. Absolutely. I wouldn't be able to run my business and thrive and stay healthy and stay well without the support network that I have around me. And it's taken me a number of years and to actively cultivate that. And so it's one thing I'm really, really passionate about helping other people to do. And then the other thing is not knowing what strategy or methods to use. You know, you get lost in the sea of shiny objects. There are so many options. It's exhausting. Do you podcast? Do you webinar? Do you do email funnels? Do you do in-person workshops? Do you do them for free? Do you charge? Do you have a Facebook group? Should you be doing periscopes or Facebook lives or videos or a YouTube channel? And oh my God, how do you fit it all in? And it's knowing what to do for you at each stage of your business. And that can be really difficult. And again, doing it on your own is really difficult. So I want to give you an example. So this is Sharon, and I know that she's on the call. And Sharon, I'm so sorry, but I just went to Google and Googled and nicked a picture because I really like this one. Sharon, eek. Okay, so I want to give you another example of what can happen when you lead with your vision and you do something that is bold and helps you to stand out. So this is Sharon's Inc. And she's one of my clients, and we've only been working together for a few months. And I have to say that Sharon is in a group program of mine called the Supernova Collective, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit in a few minutes. But in that group, we have 12 of the most amazing women. And what I love about this group is we spent a lot of time at the beginning consciously cultivating community and support. So the way that these women show up for each other is astonishing. It warms my heart every day, and I admire them all so much. So it's not that I'm picking out Sharon because she's the best, because they are all amazing. I'm pulling out Sharon because she has a great story, and she's been taking some action even just over the past couple of days, which is already showing huge dividends. So Sharon is a writing coach. She's a published author. There is her book, Welcome to Sharonville. It was on the Guardian long list. So she knows her stuff, and she has a PhD. She is an editor, and she's a writing coach. And when she came to me, she was, you know, very, very good and very skilled at what she does, but she was struggling to stand out. And so one of the things that we did right at the beginning is dive into what was Sharon's big vision and Sharon's why, and you're going to love it. I love it. And Sharon is rebranding herself. Sharon's new kind of vision for her business is she's a feminist writing coach for women with big things to say. How cool is that? And, you know, she's doing it because she's really passionate about the inequality in the number of women who get published compared to men. And then even when the women do get published, it's they get reviewed less, they get entered for less of the literary competitions. I mean, the whole thing is totally skewed against female writers, and Sharon is absolutely on fire about how to change that. That is her vision. She wants more diverse voices to be heard in literature. And she's not even launched her new business yet. But she opened up her books last week to do some what I call conversational marketing. Now, conversational marketing is about connecting with people without having to do any kind of hard sell, but so that you start to expand your network. You get to understand your audience more. You make those human one-on-one connections. And Sharon put an idea out last week about her new business, just to see if it had legs. And she got 17 people sign up for sessions with her. And the very first person she spoke to said she wanted to hire her on the spot. Now, do you think Sharon's going to be for everyone? No, of course not. You know, Donald Trump is never going to hire Sharon or any of his little gremlins. But is what she's doing going to stand out and resonate and be the right thing for you know, being the go-to person for women writers looking for someone who can support them and to guide them and who gets what it's like to be a woman writer with a big idea that's, you know, someone who can take them from book creation to writing a book proposal to finding an agent and somebody who's walked that path herself. You bet you. I mean, if nothing else, look at those eyebrows. Look at that styling. Look at that flicked eyeliner. You know, it screams unique. Sharon is uncopyable. And I'm not saying now go on and do exactly what Sharon's doing, because you can't, because that is so her. She is leading with her vision. She's leading with her passion. And I'm so excited about where it's going to take her. And that's what I mean about, you don't need to do gimmicks or quirky stuff to stand out. You just need to really show up as who you are. That's what makes the difference. And, you know, and Sharon is quite I guess a flamboyant character, and, you know, couldn't have done it without you and my supernova sisters. Oh, yes, you could, my love. But, you know, thank you. I will take the compliment. But, you know, you showing up as you is the key to it all. Then you become uncopyable. So how to do it? You need to let your brilliance shine out like a motherfucking supernova. And that's what, you know, I love helping people to do. I've got this group program. Sharon's part of it. I'm getting ready to launch a next round of it. And it's a 6-month mastermind. It's designed to get you out of your business isolation and into your business groove. And so I just want to talk to you a little bit about how we put it together and the elements of it. Let me just, there we go. Hopefully you should be able to see that. So all of those things that I talked about, these were the kind of challenges that I started with when I was designing the program. So the first one is this sense of overwhelm. You know, I talk to coaches all of the time. I regularly open up my book so I can just have a virtual cup of tea and a chat with people. You know, it's not a sales call. It's, you know, it's because it's important for me to get to know people. And what I was finding is that people are so overwhelmed. We don't have a lack of information. We have a lack of focus and strategy. There are so many things you could be doing. And so it's easy to get lost in a sea of possibilities and not know what to do and in what order for your business. And then there's that thing of, well, okay, I know the theory now. I know how I should write an email sales funnel, but then how do I actually apply that to my business with my style? And so what happens is you end up getting stuck, spinning your wheels, and you're not making the progress that you need to be doing and that you deserve. And there's also the dealing with the emotional impacts. You know, that impacts of change in your business. You know, I shared my story about when I was on the program and I just got the just do it. You know, you just have to get through it. You just have to do it. Well, it's not so easy. So we actively need a container to be able to deal with this personal growth. We can't just push through it or ignore it. We have to acknowledge it. We have to tackle it head on. And that includes the third one, which is this feeling of isolation and feeling alone. So often running a solo business means we're working in solitary conditions and it's lonely and we can get stuck in our heads. And so what we need is some clarity. We need some business strategy, some actual strategic tools and information so we know the key steps to take and in which order for our business. We need that support to implement, you know, information and guidance that you can apply the theory so that you can actually apply it to your situation and your business. We need space to explore the resistance and the fears and the inevitable personal development stuff that comes up so that you can grow and expand and blossom rather than freeze out like I did, and rather than fall into that spiral of self-doubt and self-recrimination. And you absolutely need a community of like-minded fellow travelers who get it, who know what it feels like when you've made the stretch and it didn't quite work, who have got your back, who can share your experience, who can sing your praises to people. You know, you need a community. We're not designed to be solitary beings as humans. We're hardwired for connection. And we need that in our businesses just as much as we need it in the rest of our life. And so the Supernova Collective was born. It's structured in a slightly unusual way to a lot of kind of group programs out there. So for a start, it's not just group calls. You also get 6 one-on-one sessions with me. And that's so that we can take what we learn, because there are some workshops as well, take what we learn in the workshops and apply them to your unique business. So you get feedback, you get that all-important outside eye. I dive in and I love helping people write their copy, you know, crafting your message. What is your vision? What is your why? Then how do we turn that into, you know, a compelling homepage, sales pages? What are your offers? What are your packages going to be? What outreach strategies are going to suit you, so that your online presence speaks your message in the most powerful way possible for you. This isn't a one-size-fits-all industry. This is bespoke. And so you need that kind of personalized one-on-one support. But then we also have these 6 2-hour online workshops, quite in depth. You know, 6 specific marketing and business development skills. We do it 1 month. Which also come with some assignments. So there might be things like get your about page done or rewrite your homepage. Some people have redone the whole website, writing your packages, designing email funnels and things like that. And the idea is to get you out of that perfectionism paralysis and into imperfect action, because done is always better than perfect. We have a monthly 1-hour group coaching call so that we've got a container to be able to raise stuff, you know, the emotional stuff of what's going on, how are we doing, how can we support each other, how can we show up for each other, what do we need to work through, what stories are we telling ourselves at the moment. Private Facebook group, so there's that daily ongoing contact and support. So, for example, the group at the moment have decided that they're also doing like regular kind of shut up and write sessions. So everyone gets together and, you know, sets a timer and everyone gets their heads down and starts getting some stuff done. So it's kind of dedicated time to make sure you are making progress with stuff. And we have monthly office hour sessions with me so that you can get additional help. You know, maybe you're not having your one-on-one session just yet, but you've rewritten your homepage and you would like some feedback and some advice on it. And so, you know, there's time each month for you to log onto a call with me, see what feedback other people are getting. You can ask for feedback too. And then we've not had it yet, but there will be a one-day virtual intensive with guest speakers talking about things that they are experts in, and adding kind of extra value in a way that, you know, because I'm not the oracle, I don't know everything. So we've got people who are going to be talking about particular sales strategies, how you can use visual images, for example, how you can deal with your inner critic, how you can get over perfectionism, and those types of things. I'm going to go down and tell you a little bit about what the workshops are, what subjects we go through. So how to stand out in that crowded market. So we get really in depth into how can you make sure that your voice is not going to get lost? How can you craft your clear and true marketing message? So one that's true to you and clear to your potential clients. So we do some stuff around who your ideal clients actually are, but how you can communicate to them that's authentic and has integrity, but also is going to help them get to the decision that you are the right coach for them. Packages and how to choose the right business model for different stages of your business. So, you know, if you're wondering, should I be doing groups or corporates or one-on-one or offline or online? And we go through all of the options so that you can decide the best approach for you and how you want to be working in your business. And then the last two sessions are around sales, around online sales, and also sales conversations, because these are two of the big knowledge and competence gaps that for most coaches. And the way that I approach it is in a very ethical yet effective way. So none about pushing the pain or manipulative techniques to try and get people to, you know, just get to the yes or that type of thing. It's about looking at sales in a respectful, effective way that is going to be very aligned with your coaching values. So it runs for 6 months, and the results that people are getting are just wonderful. They really are just wonderful. I mean, Sharon is just one example. We've got women we've got someone who's just, you know, quit their job to go full time in their business. We've got people who have totally revamped their websites, totally changing their niche, people who are maybe right at the beginning, who are defining their niche, people who are further along but are needing to kind of have a refresh around that stuff. And people are getting out there. Somebody's just been offered a regular writing post for the industry kind of journal for her target audience. We've got other people who are going out and you know, having really great intake conversations with people. The growth that people are having is really lovely to behold. And it's also down to this support. As I say, we were really conscious about making sure that as a group, people are really tight and really supportive. It's an integral part of the program. This isn't something that, you know, you just show up to twice a month and then go to your corner. You know, these women are showing up for each other every day, and it's just glorious to behold. So it starts in, I think it's 21 days. So it starts, when is the date? Where's the date going? Oh, there we go, in 21 days. So it's quite a long time for keeping the cart open, a little bit different from how you'll see many people sell online. The investment, you can pay all in one go. It's £1,700 or 6 payments of 285, and it depends. The currencies are fluctuating a lot at the moment, so it can be anything between 2,000 and about 220 in terms of dollars for all one go, and around about 2,000 euros. And so the way that I am inviting people to kind of explore whether this is the right thing for them. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, this all sounds good, but I've got lots of questions. I don't know, is a group program, would I have time for it? Would this suit me if I'm at this stage or that stage? One of the things I'm a big advocate of, and that I teach my clients, is this thing that I've mentioned before, which is conversational marketing. It's not about hard sell. It's not about squeezing people through an email funnel. It's about conversations. And so that's all I'm doing. I'm not asking you to make any decision right now. I'm asking you to, if it's something you're interested in, go to joecasey.com/supernova and click on the book your time to talk with me. Hop on the phone, well, Skype actually, or Zoom, depending on your setup, and let's have a chat. And I'll talk you through, and I'll tell you honestly if I don't think it's going to be a good fit for you. And I'll answer any questions that you have, and we'll have a cup of tea, and we'll have a chat like two grown-up human beings. If you are curious about anything, any other aspect of it, as I say, Sharon Zink is a member. I'm sure she would be happy to, maybe connect with you on Facebook and maybe give you a bit of feedback. There are also, if you are curious, there are, like I say, 11 other women who are going through it, who I'm sure some of them would be happy to chat and share their experiences with you. We are a bit ahead of time. I'm quite surprised. I'm usually right on the wire of things. So we have got time for some questions if anybody's got any. You just want to type them into the chat box. I will have another drink. Sharon says, please ask me. I'd say just do it. Oh, bless you. Well, it doesn't look like we've got any questions, which is cool. If you do have any further along, let me stop sharing my screen. We can go back to, there we go. Can you see me now? Oh, you can't see me. Are there recordings if people can't make the live calls? Yes, Jen, there are. Everything is recorded. I don't know why you can't see me on there. No. Yes, all of them are recorded. Even the office hours are recorded. We have, in the current cohort, we have people who are in the UK. We have people who are who are in Canada. So, on Eastern time. And we have people who are kind of California way, on Pacific time. So by and large, we've tried to gear the live call times for, to get as many people available as possible. But, life happens. Not everybody can make it all the time. So, yeah, all the calls are recorded. They're done through Zoom, which is really nice because we get some good interaction. Everyone can see each other. I'm a big fan of using Zoom for kind of group stuff. And even the office hours. So even if you can't make, say, the office hours call, what you can do is in the Facebook thread, you can, ask a question, link to your page, whatever you're wanting to have reviewed, and it will, I'll answer it on the call and show you there. I don't know why it's not showing me anymore. So I keep over clicks. I've turned it off. I've turned it on. No, I don't know. I can see me, but I can also see that you can't see me. Oh, so you can see me. I am full screen. I am. Do I look good? Am I? Is it bad? I can't see me. So, oh, bless you. Thank you. It's me. Yeah, I was shamelessly fishing for a compliment there. Thank you. Yes, I've re-pinkified it today, especially for you all. Any other questions? I'm more than happy to stay on till the end of our allotted time, but I'm also aware that everyone has lives and stuff like that. But I'm super nerdy about this stuff. You may ask me anything. Do you recommend Supernova for those who are just getting started? Yes, Jen, I do. We have quite a few people actually in the current cohort who are just getting started or who are in the kind of that first year. In fact, we have one person who is still literally in coach training. They're just finishing off their coach training, but wanted to kind of get a head start on things like the marketing and the messaging and things like that. And so joined this round. So yeah, it's perfect because it means that you can kind of shave a lot off your learning curve. See, what most coaches do, what I did, is you try and figure it all out on your own. And then you realize that it's really hard because there's so much kind of conflicting advice. And so what this helps you to do is focus on, okay, what are the kind of steps that I need to take? And I say this to everyone, regardless of what stage they're at, is if you have your message, your niche and your message, they're the two most important things. And if you can then explain how you help people, that is the foundation. So Jan, for someone who can't afford a program like yours just yet, what would you recommend they focus on to get a place when they can afford it the next time around? I would focus on your niche and your message. So that, what is your message? What is your big why? And talk to as many people as possible, do as much coaching as possible, even if it's free at this stage, because the more coaching you do, the more you will get to know what it is that people want. And the more you understand what people want, the easier it is for you to then be able to say, and I have produced this package and this will really help you. One of the big mistakes that a lot of coaches do is they try and go off on a kind of, even spending lots and lots of time and money on marketing. But if they haven't got that message and they haven't got that clear, this is who I help and what I help them with, then it none of the marketing sticks because people are kind of going, well, that sounds nice, but I don't see why I pay for it. Whereas you really need, once you've got that message there and you've got some clear packages that really focus on this is what will be different for you after you've worked with me. And I know that's going to be different for every client. And this isn't about saying you will be 3 stone lighter or, we're not talking about making unrealistic promises, but, you will understand so much more about, you will be able to do this. It's that type of thing, but being able to put it in the right kind of tangible language for people, then your marketing starts to stick. Then your marketing efforts actually start to generate the leads that you need to bring people in the door. And then you can start having conversations about people who are ready and eager, ripe to work with you. And one of the things you might want to think about, Jan, is, that there's a payment plan for the program, and I'm always open to discussions around extending the period of that payment plan if that makes it easier for people, because I know that it can be a stretch to be able to come up with a monthly amount, but I also know hand on heart how much extra value you get, not just from working with me, but from working with having a group of people around you who can give you feedback on your stuff, who can really help you to dive in and explore what is really going to resonate with your clients. And so if it really is out of your reach right now, Jan, then I would say the other thing I'd suggest is try and find some people that you can meet up with, even if it's a virtual working thing, once a week or once a fortnight, so you've got people who are walking a similar path to you. Does that help? Good stuff. Any more questions? Any others before we wrap it up? Okay. Well, I think that you're so welcome, Jen. Well, I think we'll wrap it up then in that case. If you do have any questions and they kind of come to you later, then you can always email me or tag me in the Facebook group if you're in the Coaches Collective Facebook group. It's free to join, so come on over. You can find it via my website, joecasey.com, or you can email me, joe@joecasey.com. There'll be a replay of this sent out. It usually takes an hour or so for them to kind of do whatever the magical thing is they need to do in the cloud. And if it is something that you're even just curious about, book some time to have a chat. That's what I love doing. And even if it's not the right program for you, then, you know, we'll have had a cup of tea and a chat and got to know each other a little bit more. And I will do my best to give you some pointers about where you can go next. And have a lovely evening or day wherever you are in the world. Thank you all so much. You are all so welcome and so lovely. Oh, my screen's suddenly gone very bright. I don't know why that is. But yeah, thank you. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye bye, darlings.